As Volume 7 is wrapping up, new possibilities are continuing to arise, a majority of which with characters as new information is coming to light, decisions are being made that have serious consequences, and conflicts are continuing to happen. There are also possibilities that are coming up with the world of Remnant itself, and the rules that apply to it, or at least the rules that we knew up until this point. One of the interesting things about episode 11 of RWBY Volume 7 is that Salem herself decided to appear in front of Team RWBY, the Aesops, and Ironwood. She didn't appear in person, but rather as a shade that was generated from a Seer Grimm. Now, this was very impactful for a number of reasons. The information that we got was pretty significant, that Salem herself is coming to Atlas, as well as Summer Rose did confront Salem at some point in the past. But what really stands out to me is the method in which Salem did this, by using the Seer Grimm. The Seer Grimm popped out of Watts' bag. Why Ironwood didn't check it beforehand is curious to me, but that's not really the issue. The point is that the Seer Grimm popped out, its glass orb cracked, its tentacles writhed in pain and constricted into itself, and then it dropped to the floor. To me, that looks like a dead Grimm. However, it didn't immediately start evaporating. Instead, it released a black mist from its orb, and this created the shadow of Salem. There was the glowing red portion inside her chest, and this could be seen as the Seer Grimm's final form, or the final form of its life that it would take upon dying. Which would make sense. However, this also opens up the possibility in my mind that other Grimm may have effects upon dying as the series goes forward. Because one of the cardinal rules of Grimm is that when a Grimm dies, it starts to evaporate. Its body does not stick around. This is something that we have seen throughout the entire series of RWBY. One instance that might bring it into question is when Tyrion in Volume 4 was attacking that Beowulf. And he continued to attack it and its body wasn't disappearing. Well, that's pretty much just Tyrion's sadism. He was intentionally keeping the Grimm alive so he could continue attacking it. In this case, though, the Seer Grimm looked very dead to me, and this shadow of Salem appeared. And, of course, there would probably be a time limit to this shadow appearance, but it didn't seem like Salem was rushed in any capacity, or if this just worked out to her favor, or what have you. But with this, I've started to wonder, what other effects could Grimm have upon dying? For example, if things could be stored within Grimm, like, I don't know, a dust bomb or something, and a Grimm could charge into the middle of Mantle, and then just, when it's killed, it just blows up. That, in and of itself, could be a terrifying possibility. And a lot of things are possible with Grimm, because I'm guessing the Seer Grimm is something that didn't arise naturally. I don't think the God of Darkness had the Seer Grimm in mind when he created Grimm. I think this was a Grimm of Salem's own creation, since it's more of a utility Grimm. It is Salem's eyes when she's at her citadel, at her palace. She can use Seer Grimm to communicate to her subordinates and keep an eye on the other Grimm as they are going about her business. So Salem could create Grimm that have other possibilities. For example, if a Grimm, when it died, it burst into a powder or something that was toxic to other people, or that created a plague, or paralysis, or hypnosis, or something like that. Even if the Grimm particles, when it evaporates, the dust itself couldn't do it on its own, there could be something incorporated into the Grimm. We know that Grimm experiments are being done. We know that Grimm is somehow compatible with people. Salem has been able to graft a Grimm arm to Cinder, through magic most likely, but considering Salem has magic, it would be no surprise that she could incorporate that into the Grimm and have them cause disastrous effects if they were to get into the middle of a city. As I mentioned, a dust bomb in the middle of Mantle would be something that would be easy to store within a Grimm so that when it dies, it just explodes. But if something was incorporated into the Grimm biology itself is just terrifying to think of. Not only that, she could have a Grimm that just has other effects, that it would go to a certain place and die intentionally to maybe put a Grimm summoning circle onto the ground. Because we saw when Salem got very pissed off at Hazel in Volume 6, she was able to summon Grimm arms from the ground that seemed to drag Hazel to the ground. So if she had a Grimm that was able to go to a city, sneak into a back alley or what have you, and I don't know, just put a summoning circle there and just start summoning Grimm into the middle of the city, that would cause a lot of panic and chaos and probably just draw more Grimm in the area. So there are many possibilities. And another thing we haven't seen that would, I'm pretty sure, creep a lot of people out is a spider-style Grimm that, you know, a fairly large one that upon dying just produces hundreds or thousands of tiny little spider Grimm that have the possibility to poison someone. Or something like that. Just the image of seeing a spider Grimm die and then just hundreds of other spiders crawling out of it just seems absolutely terrifying, and I'm sure a lot of people would not want to see that in the series, but it's a good idea and possibly could happen later on. Even just a Grimm that, upon dying, or seems like it's dead, breaks into two different parts. The Knuckleavi, for example, is two Grimm fused together, a horse Grimm and an imp Grimm. So if one of them was killed, couldn't the other survive? Or could they end up breaking apart? That could be something very misleading if a huntsman was thought that they killed a Grimm, and then all of a sudden when they think the battle is over, their aura is worn down and they take a breather, then the Grimm comes back and kills them, or at least part of it, or what have you. This Seer Grimm has raised a lot of questions in my mind about what exactly is possible with Grimm. Because we know that Salem can alter Grimm biology. We see it with the winged Berengull. The Seer Grimm itself is probably something of Salem's own creation, because she's able to control it and speak through it, and it is more for utility rather than, you know, you don't see a horde of Seer Grimm charging into Beacon Academy or storming Mantle or anything like that. It is Salem's utility. She's creating it for that purpose. My guess is she can't create that many of them, as the Pools of Darkness themselves seem to be somewhat exhausted, but, you know, there are a lot of possibilities that could happen if the biology of Grimm starts to be altered and go down this route. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What possibilities do you think could happen for Grimm having post-mortem effects? Or after their initial death, what do you think could happen? Do you think they could cause a plague or a pandemic or paralysis in the people around them, temporarily even? We've seen the effects of things like the apathy, that they can cause people to become so apathetic that they just lay down and die. If that was to happen somehow after a Grimm was killed, or some effects like that, the possibilities of Grimm are really terrifying, and I hope we get to see more and more styles of Grimm, powers of Grimm in the future. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, what possibilities you come up with that I haven't, or what you agree with, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe if you want some more RWBY content. Tweet me at PhoenixKnight7, and I'll see you guys in the next video.